And the sudden acquisition thereof involves the planet Uranus, or Venus and Jupiter being placed in Aquarius or in the 11th house, you know, and these are the factors that we look for to make this determination. All right. Cool.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Would you like to elaborate on some cases or what you understand about the natal promise?
Yeah, I can, well, listening to what you're saying about the natal promise, I can look at my own astrological chart, dealing with the planets of Mercury and Uranus. I have Mercury and Uranus trine in my natal chart, and being that Mercury rules brothers, sisters, cousins, close relatives, and Uranus is the planet of astrology or intuition or the knowledge, period, I see how that aspect in my chart, my natal promise, is manifested itself to be, you know, learning astrology from my cousin and interacting with my cousin, you know, through astrology or the sciences and anything that has to do with perceiving the depths, because Uranus is in Scorpio, it has to do with, there's an exaltation there. So, you know, just agreeing with you that the natal promise will show whether the person and where and how the person will, you know, experience, how these energies will manifest in an individual's life. That's a good point that you make. As far as people coming to you and asking for finances or when am I going to meet the man of the dreams, it's important for the astrologer to look at the natal promise and to see if this is even a possibility, which will help the astrologer or cosmophysician narrow it down when coming to an overall determination when reading the chart or helping a client or anybody who's interested in reading charts there. That's what I have to add.
Okay. I want to give some examples of a natal promise, okay? And for those who are interested in the idea of what a natal promise is and doing that research, okay, let me inform you that the natal promise isn't always a good one, okay? I mean, if we look at the chart of Malcolm X, right? He was born on, hold on a second, let me get his chart up there. May 25th or something? Yeah, it's May 25th. I just want to make sure I have the year correct. It's May 25th, 1925, okay? He was born in Omaha, Nebraska, all right? And for all case and purposes, intents and purposes, you don't really need the time of birth when looking at a natal promise. You know, you can look at a person, just the day that they were born, as long as you're within 24 hours. You know, as long as the question being asked doesn't deal with the domestic situation, you don't need the time of birth. The reason why we would need the time of birth in a domestic question is because the moon rules domestics, okay, and it has a lot to do with the domestic promise. So therefore, if someone was talking about a new house, we would have to know where the moon was exactly. And in the course of 24 hours, the moon moves approximately 12 to 14 degrees. So the average is 13 degrees. So under those circumstances, we would need to know the natal time of birth. But outside of that, looking at any other configuration, you can see. So for those of you who are out there taking notes, have your notebooks ready now. Get them ready. All right. Pull up a chart for May the 25th, 1925, Omaha, Nebraska, and we'll examine the chart of the late great Malcolm X, a.k.a. Al-Hajj, Malik al-Shabazz. All right. And one of the natal promises that he has, which is you know, a tragedy, right? Is the fact that he has Mars and Pluto conjunct in Cancer, in the sign of Cancer. When I say conjunction, I'm referring to an aspect in between the planets that foretold his demise. Okay. What he has is Mars at 10 degrees and Pluto at 12 degrees. That's an orb or a distance between them of 2 degrees and less than 2 degrees. Really, it's 1 degree and 58 minutes. It's like 1.98 degrees apart. Okay, which would mean, which is the natal promise, because they're so close together. The natal promise involved is that is number one, that this aspect, when you look at it in the sign of Cancer, deals with the parents. Okay, it deals with both parents. And if you are familiar with his biography, his mother was put into an insane asylum, right? Before he passed away, he got to bear witness to that tragedy. And his father was murdered. All right, his father died a tragic death. If it was an accident, but we know he was murdered. Okay, he was laid on the train tracks by the Ku Klux Klan, according to Malcolm. And the sign of Cancer is the sign of parents. So it also indicates other things: tragedies to women, misgivings and misfortunes dealing with other people's property, because I have him here as a Sagittarius descendant, but it never put this in the 8th place of death. All right. So when you look at these configurations in the chart, and you see how they if you already know, see, hindsight is 20/20, and the way you actually learn to analyze natal promises is by doing the biographies of people that have gone before you, whether they're alive or dead. Okay, we can look at the natal chart of another famous person later, right? When we look at, and because we don't have anybody on the line other than us right now, we can continue to build on this issue. All right?
Yeah, I was
But believe me, there's people listening. Okay, so what's going on?
I just wanted to say something real quick. You're talking about the natal promise. In this chart, you said that his father was killed.
Yeah, exactly.
He has Saturn at 9 degrees of Scorpio in his natal promise, trine the Mars-Pluto conjunction.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I was going to get into that. If you want to elaborate on that, you can.
No, I don't want to elaborate on it. I just wanted to mention that I see where you're going with it. I'm following you here with just looking at the natal promise. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Now, the reason why it involves a parent, we can tell astrologically that it involves one of the parents automatically by virtue of the fact that it's in the sign of Cancer, because on an elementary level, we know that Cancer represents parentage, male or female. In-depthly and more specifically, it deals with the mother. Okay, but it deals with the father as well. Because both of them have to do with the domestic upbringing and the heritage issue. The fact that we can. The fact that we can seriously apply it to his father in terms of his worst as manifestation is the fact that it involves the planet Saturn. The Saturn is the planet that indicates, as far as other relationships are concerned, it indicates the father or the grandfather or the uncles and the disciplining people in your life. Hello? Okay. At any rate,
I'm still here.
Yeah, okay, very well. Alright, with Saturn, I hear a child in the background.
Oh, that's me. How do I mute the phone? Hi. How do I mute the phone?
Okay, listen, excuse me, say it again.
Hi.
Hi, say hello. Say hello, MARKHU.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, we got a listener on here. Alright, now, as far as... back up. You know from Saturn's placement in the chart in the sign of Scorpio. Now, a trine is a very promising aspect. Now, what I mean by that is, see, some people would say, well, the trine is supposed to be good. Yeah, some people would say that it should have bore no tragedy because Saturn trines this configuration, but that's not true. A harmonious aspect only brings forth the opportunity to manifest easily. That's what a trine represents. In other words, a trine between Mars and Neptune could just as easily indicate a chemical wound or a chemical burn type of wound as a square between Neptune and Mars. Because the trine aspect represents the easy flow of energy between two factors. All right, Mars being fire, Neptune being perhaps a flammable type of chemical would indicate that this person can very easily be burnt. All right, or if burnt, it wouldn't be as severe. That's what the aspect represents. The severity, but not necessarily the potential. It doesn't say that it doesn't eliminate the potential of it happening. All right, of those two energies.